The Forgotten Tunnel. In a small, quiet town nestled between two mountain ranges, a secret lay buried beneath the earth. A secret so terrifying that no one dared speak of it. Most of the townsfolk claimed it was nothing more than a legend, but those who knew the truth kept their silence. It began decades ago when the town decided to expand its infrastructure. To connect the north and south ends of the valley, workers dug a tunnel deep into the mountain. The project started smoothly, but as the workers delved deeper into the earth, strange things began to happen. Equipment failed without explanation, workers disappeared, and haunting whispers echoed through the incomplete tunnel. Finally, after a particularly brutal accident that claimed 3 lives, the project was abandoned. The entrance to the tunnel was sealed, and over time it faded from memory. But the earth doesn't forget. The Dare teenagers from the local high school often shared ghost stories about the old tunnel. For most, it was a fun way to pass time during sleepovers or camping trips. But for Clara, it was an obsession. She had heard the stories from her grandfather, who had worked on the original tunnel project. He always warned her to stay away from the mountain, but his fearful tone only fueled her curiosity. One crisp autumn evening, Clara and her friends gathered around a bonfire in the woods. The air was thick with the smell of burning leaves and the faint howl of the wind. "You're all cowards," Clara said, her voice cutting through the laughter. "No one's ever actually tried to find the tunnel." "Because it's not real," her friend Marcus retorted. "It's just a dumb story." Clara smirked. "If it's not real, then you won't have a problem proving it." "What do you mean?" asked Jenny, another member of the group, her face pale in the firelight. "I mean, we go and find it. Tonight." The group fell silent. The idea was both thrilling and terrifying. Finally, Marcus scoffed. "Fine, let's go. But when we don't find anything, you owe me $20. The discovery. The group set off with flashlights and an old map Clara had found in her grandfather's attic. The map, worn and yellowed with age, marked the supposed location of the tunnel entrance, deep within the forest. As they trekked through the woods, an unnatural stillness settled over the group. The usual sounds of chirping crickets and rustling leaves were absent, replaced by an eerie silence. Even the wind seemed to hold its breath. "This is creepy," Jenny muttered, clutching Marcus's arm. "Relax," Marcus said, though his voice wavered. "It's just the woods at night." After nearly an hour of walking, they found it. Hidden behind a dense thicket of brambles was the entrance to the tunnel. The concrete archway was cracked and weathered, but the heavy iron gate that once sealed it was twisted open, as if something had forced its way out. "I told you it was real," Clara said, her voice filled with both triumph and dread. The group hesitated. The darkness beyond the gate was absolute, swallowing the light from their flashlights. The air that wafted out smelled of damp earth and something metallic, something that reminded Clara of blood. "Let's just take a quick look," Clara urged. "We came all this way." Against their better judgment, they stepped inside. The descent. The tunnel was colder than they expected, and the walls seemed to absorb sound, amplifying every breath and footstep. The further they went, the more the air seemed to press down on them, heavy and oppressive. Strange markings covered the walls, carved deep into the stone. They were symbols none of them recognized, twisted, angular shapes that seemed to shift when viewed out of the corner of the eye. "What is this place?" Marcus whispered. "No idea," Clara replied, though her voice was tight. She couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. As they ventured deeper, the tunnel began to change. The smooth concrete gave way to rough, jagged stone. The markings on the walls grew more erratic, almost frenzied. And then they heard it, a faint, rhythmic tapping, like someone hammering on stone far ahead. "Did you hear that?" Jenny asked, her voice trembling. "Probably just water dripping," Marcus said, though he didn't sound convinced. But the sound grew louder, closer. It wasn't water, it was deliberate. "Let's go back," Jenny pleaded. "This is a bad idea." Before anyone could respond, the tapping stopped. The silence that followed was deafening. And then, from the darkness ahead, came a low, guttural growl. The chase! Run! Clara screamed. They turned and fled, their flashlights bobbing wildly as they sprinted back toward the entrance. The growl grew louder, joined by the sound of scraping claws and heavy footsteps. Whatever was behind them was fast and it was gaining. Jenny tripped, her flashlight skittering across the ground. Marcus stopped to help her, but as he reached out, something yanked H